Recognize the member for Sask Eastview.
Bad choice.
Mr. Speaker, it's becoming more and more clear that this government is not listening to parents, and they're also not listening to the Children's Advocate. But that's not all. We've heard other folks raise concern about how this policy violates human rights. Justice McGaw wrote in his decision on the injunction, quote, "On the whole of the evidence, I am satisfied that those individuals affected by this policy, youth under the age of 16, who are unable to have their name, pronouns, gender diversity, or gender identity observed in the school, will suffer irreparable harm." A justice of the Court of King's Bench says this policy will cause irreparable harm to young people. What is the minister's response to that? Recognize the Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
We've always been clear. We've always been clear that we would use all available tools to defend parents' rights to be included, informed and involved, Mr. Speaker. This is about providing clarity. Mr. Speaker, the notwithstanding clause is part of the law. It's part of the Canadian Constitution. Provinces, including Saskatchewan with Alan Blakeney, fought hard for the inclusion of the notwithstanding clause in 1982. And it was Mr. Blakeney who said that the clause does not amount to a, quote, suspension of rights, Mr. Speaker, that the rights enumerated in the Charter are not more important than other rights, that the Charter should not be regarded as creating a, quote, hierarchy of rights, and that there would be instances when, quote, rights collide. This is one of those instances.
Recognize the member for Sask Eastview. I can assure that minister that Premier Blakeney never envisioned the notwithstanding clause being used to trample the rights of vulnerable children in our province. I'll give another redo to that brand new education minister. What does he have to say about ignoring the voices of parents, ignoring the voice of the Children's Advocate, ignoring the voice of our independent court system, a pillar of our democracy, to move forward with trampling the rights to cause irreparable harm to Saskatchewan children? That's to the education minister.
Hear, hear.
Recognize the Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
Mr. Speaker, 16 times. 16 times, Mr. Speaker, is the number of times that Quebec has invoked the notwithstanding clause, and that does not count the hundreds of times that Quebec invoked it through an automatic legislative override, Mr. Speaker. The Charter and its notwithstanding clause are a part of a sophisticated balance between legislative and judicial, federal and provincial. And as Alan Blakeney put it, Mr. Speaker, the clause ensures that, quote, the state could, for economic or social reasons, or because other rights were found in the circumstances to be more important, choose to override a charter-protected right. Mr. Speaker, that was Mr. Blakeney. We agree.
Recognize the member from Saskatoon Eastview. Mr. Speaker, this government is ignoring the real problems in our classrooms. We've got more kids than any province going to school hungry every day. That's right. We've got a mental health crisis with our young people going unwatched by this government, too focused on things that don't matter. We've got crowded classrooms. We've got complex needs of our young people going unmet in our schools every single day.
Right.
And they've recalled the legislature. And they're using the notwithstanding clause to do irreparable harm to young people, to our children in this province. Now, those aren't my concerns and words. Those are taken right from the decision from Justice McGaw. Again, to the education minister, what is his response to the fact that a judge's ruling has warned his government that this policy will do irreparable harm to vulnerable children in Saskatchewan?
Hear, hear.
Recognize the Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we're moving forward with this piece of legislation because we've heard from Saskatchewan parents. We've heard from Saskatchewan parents that want to be involved in their education. Mr. Speaker, the member opposite comes back to a couple words in the judge's decision, irreparable harm. Mr. Speaker, the reality is that the policies that were already existing in numerous school divisions around the province mirror what this policy is. So is the member opposite saying that there was already irreparable harm occurring, Mr. Speaker? That's something that maybe that member should think about. Again, Mr. Speaker, I keep coming back to the question in my own mind is, why do the NDP want to shut parents out of education? This government, Mr. Speaker, our default position is that parents should always be involved, especially when it comes to big decisions or controversial issues, Mr. Speaker. I hope the NDP give us an opportunity to continue that debate today.